Welcome, everyone, to Beers with Jesus. And Todd and Carrie at Todd's
Cheers.
World. What's that, a
Do you,
Corona?
it's a Corona.
I'm back to Bud Fat again.
Corona light, but bad. You put a splash of lemonade in there or no?
I don't put anything in here. I just
Bud
like my
Fat.
good old macro brews.
Yep. And I like my summer,
Like I'm from the 70s.
Summer citrusy brews. That's me.
Handing it to my 8-year-old nephew. Here, have a drink.
It's called a Bud Fat. It's mass produced. Hey, I heard Yingling's on its way there.
You say that. I haven't seen it yet.
Mm.
Which I'd be honest, it's fine.
I think it's next week it's coming.
Really? How do you know all this? Do you have people that care about it up here?
Yeah.
That much, eh?
Yeah. Like, here's what I heard.
Clearly, they're not a highly influential podcaster that has their days
it's going to
taken
be
up.
in Myers on Monday. That's what I heard.
Okay.
And I think it's already on tap in some bars.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Yingling,
Yingling.
Pennsylvania beer.
I didn't know that you couldn't get it there. That's wild. I'm happy for you, though. It's so good.
It's okay.
Yingling fat.
I'll try it. I've had it a few times. I was never like, I mean, it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Fine.
The low carb, like the lower carb one, is called Flight.
And
it's
you like
good.
that?
I like it. Not everybody does. I like it. I mean,
I don't drink the low carb like Mick Ultras and stuff.
If you don't drink that, then it doesn't matter. Just drink the regular. It's good.
Just drink regular beer, folks, with your Bible study.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, I agree. We do it every week.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome to Todd's World, everyone. We're going through Acts. We explore the stories, pretty basic on Beers with Jesus, and we just kind of walk through them, talk about them. That's all. And it's wildly entertaining.
We try to make it.
I don't know how we do it either.
We try to make it wildly entertaining.
Every week I'm like, my God, that was wildly entertaining. That's talent on loan from God, as Rush used to say.
Oh, there you go. That's fair. So that feels about right. So Acts, when Todd says Acts, if you're not super familiar, that is short for Book of the Acts of the Apostles. And this is after Jesus left, after his resurrection and ascension, and this is the apostles, his disciples, building the church afterwards,
causing a ruckus.
I know, right?
Everywhere they go, they'd be causing a ruckus. There they is, Jasmine.
Okay. Do you need to tell them about news right now before we go on?
You better go. We do have another podcast. It's called the Wildly Opinionated News Hour. And if you care at all about news, you should go listen to it. Watch it. Yeah. Whatever you want to do. You can catch it on Facebook. And the same is true with beers. You catch it on Facebook, X, put the full shows up there.
Do you put Beers with Jesus on X?
I do.
Awesome.
This last week, I have to apologize to people. I had issues with the audio on news, and it just carried over to kind of a weird schedule that I wasn't able to get things out. And once I realized news was out, and audio was bad, and I was like, oh, hopefully I've got the audio thing figured out.
Yeah.
But the Beers audio was always fine last week. It was great. I thought that was a fabulous show last week. I mean, I probably put it in our top 10.
Oh, really? Nice. I feel like the last couple weeks have been good. I'm not saying it's because of us necessarily, but
I always feel like we're in the top 10. We keep replacing the top 10.
Gotcha. We are striving for greatness here.
It's amazing, really is. What we're able to accomplish with so little when it comes to our tech.
Well, you know what? You know why we have no sound issues here? Because it's just us.
Just us and the Bible.
That's it.
Then this is
There's no interference.
An approved curriculum at most churches, we found out.
Oh yeah, you should go listen to last week.
Just pick up the Bible and start reading it.
Have you ever faced the challenge of your church's approved curriculum? Go check out our episode last week.
I mean, you can get your workbook from whoever.
We're using the Message, Todd's favorite version.
We're like, it's just like a 1,300-page workbook. You might have heard of it.
Yeah, you should have said that. That's funny.
Anyway.
That's funny.
Anyway, on Todd's World,
yep,
the Bible, only the Message is still is still that's the only approved curriculum on Todd's World.
Yeah, I know. It's not like we've gone and written something with no qualifications. Todd, we're on chapter 12. Are we
We are.
doing the whole thing? Are we doing just
Why not?
Okay.
We're buzzing, man.
Do you want me to read the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's read the whole thing. Let's get at it with Peter.
Ready? All right.
Go get him, Carrie.
Acts chapter 12. Peter under
Non-approved
heavy
curriculum.
guard.
I gotta get a shirt that says Todd's World. Not approved curriculum.
Not really the Bible, not approved. You can wear it to church and see if anyone noticed. Oh, no. Oh, it's so funny.
Carrie gives me even more ideas.
Gosh, that's funny. That's really good. So
Anyway,
good.
Peter.
Okay. Peter, here we go. That's when King Herod got it into his head to go after some of the church members. He murdered James, John's brother. When he saw how much it raised his popularity ratings with the Jews, he arrested Peter, all during Passover week. All this during Passover week, mind you, and had him thrown in jail, putting 4 squads of 4 soldiers each to guard him. He was planning a public lynching after Passover. My gosh, imagine if Peter got lynched this early in the story.
Public lynching.
All the time that Peter was under heavy guard in the jailhouse, the church prayed for him most strenuously. Then the time came for Herod to bring him out for the kill. That night, even though shackled to 2 soldiers, one on either side, Peter slept like a baby, and there were guards at the door keeping their eyes on the place. Herod was taking no chances. Suddenly, there was an angel at his side and light flooding the room. The angel shook Peter and got him up. "Hurry!" The handcuffs fell off his wrists. The angel said, "Get dressed. Put on your shoes." Peter did it. "Grab your coat and let's get out of here." Peter followed him, but didn't believe it was actually an angel. He thought he was dreaming. Past the first guard and then the second, they came to the iron gate that led into the city. It swung open before them on its own, and they were out on the street, free as the breeze.
Free as the breeze.
Free as the breeze. I love this. At the first intersection, the angel left him, going his own way. That's when Peter realized it was no dream. I can't believe it. This really happened. The master sent his angel and rescued me from Herod's vicious little production and the spectacle the Jewish mob was looking forward to. Still shaking his head amazed, he went to Mary's house, the Mary who was John Mark's mother. The house was packed with praying friends. When he knocked on the door to the courtyard, a young woman named Rhoda came to see who it was. But when she recognized his voice, Peter's voice, she was so excited and eager to tell everyone Peter was there that she forgot to open the door and left him standing in the street. That's a funny little detail. But they wouldn't believe her, dismissing her report. "You're crazy," they said. She stuck by her story, insisting. They still wouldn't believe her and said, "It must be his angel." All this time, poor Peter was standing out in the street, knocking away. Finally, they opened up and saw him and went wild. Peter put his hands up and calmed them down. He described how the master had gotten him out of jail, then said, "Tell James and the brothers what happened." He left them and went off to another place. At daybreak, the jail was in an uproar. "Where is Peter? What happened to Peter?" When Herod sent for him, and they could neither produce him nor explain why not, he ordered their execution. Off with their heads! Fed up with Judea and Jews, he went for a vacation to Caesarea. Wow, Herod's like,
Fed up
"God,
with the Jews.
I'm
All these
just
Jews.
all these angels and rescues." Oh my gosh. But things went from bad to worse for Herod. Now, people from Tyre and Sidon put him on the warpath, but they got Blastus, King Herod's right-hand man, to put in a good word for them and got a delegation together to iron things out. Because they were dependent on Judea for food supplies, they couldn't afford to let this go on too long. On the day set for their meeting, Herod, robed in pomposity, took his place on the throne and regaled them with a lot of hot air. The people played their part to the hilt and shouted flatteries, "The voice of God! The voice of God!" That was the last straw. God had had enough of Herod's arrogance and sent an angel to strike him down. Herod had given God no credit for anything. Down he went, rotten to the core, a maggoty old man if there ever was one. He died. Wow.
Look at Luke go.
Meanwhile, meanwhile, the ministry of God's word grew by leaps and bounds. Barnabas and Saul, once they delivered the relief offering to the church in Jerusalem, went back to Antioch. This time they took John with them, the one they called Mark. Wow.
Good job, Carrie. That's a lot of reading all
That
at
was a lot of
once.
reading. I need a sip.
Nice work.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. We're tackling the whole
So,
chapter today.
wow.
A lot going
Herod.
on.
A lot going on. Okay, I guess we'll get to Herod. We starting with Peter, the
We can
rescue?
go wherever you want, Carrie.
Mm,
I think what's kind of interesting about this chapter
mhm,
is that it's showing you two sides of what's going on. On the one side, you've got Peter, and you've got the
mhm,
spiritual dimension, and you've got the church, and you've got the praying, and God building his church, and angels, and the whole thing. And then
mhm,
on the other side, you've got all the prosaic politics stuff. Do you
mhm.
know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
gives us for the Bible and for Acts a fair amount of detail into some of the political machinations that are going on around this thing. So you have
Mhm,
kind of a big deal here, and on the spiritual and the physical material realms, they're kind of converging. You know what I mean?
mhm.
And then you have two people, the two main characters, I would argue, would be
Yep.
Herod and Peter, and they come to remarkably different ends. You know what I mean?
Yes, and probably opposite, you know,
Yeah,
as you would expect at the beginning.
yeah. That and so Herod, the first thing that struck me, one of the first things that struck me about this is this is obviously it's an amazing deal. We get the Acts of the Apostles, and this is amazing that God sends an angel to rescue Peter,
Mhm.
and so on some of the broad strokes, there's that, but also it starts off with um, Herod got it into his head and started going after church members, and he murders James, John's brother. So that's I think the first disciple to be martyred in Acts, the first of the original 12.
Isn't,
Stephen wasn't a
Stephen?
disciple; he was a deacon.
Oh, he
Um,
wasn't?
no,
Okay,
so he
sorry.
wasn't one of the apostles. I
Okay, this is
think,
one of the original, you're saying.
yeah, one of the
Got
original
it.
12 disciples. Of course, you lost Judas.
Right.
Um, but I believe this James, the brother John, is the first one to die as a martyr, to die for his
Okay.
faith. What's interesting about that to me
Mhm.
is we get kind of hung up, I think, and we get this way on healings. We get this way on a lot of things. We look at people's lives, or we look at we like to compare things. Just
Mhm.
that's how we like to do
It's human
as
nature.
as human nature, right?
Mhm.
We like to compare things, and so we a lot
Totally.
of times we'll look at our circumstances and we'll look at other people's circumstances, and we'll think, well, that's just not fair. Why is that working out? Or maybe somebody gets
Right.
healed, and yet we pray for our family member, somebody who's close to us,
Mhm.
and they don't get healed, and they die of cancer, they die of whatever.
Right.
And there's a lot of struggle over that, but that was present right from the beginning. God miraculously rescues Peter, but lets James die.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And God's at work in both of them. Both of them are serving God. Both of them
Mm.
God's um approving of. Both of them are serving his purpose. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And
This
it's
is I
just
mean, that's kind of a harsh reality,
it
Todd.
is. I just think it's an interesting frame. So it
Mhm.
frames this miraculous thing he's about to do with Peter with
Mhm.
the miraculous thing he didn't do for James.
Right.
But God's still there either way.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Same God,
Absolutely. Mhm.
same kingdom,
Mhm.
just as at work, and yet it's not the same outcomes for everybody. And so what do? That's where we just trust that God
Mhm.
knows what he's doing,
Yeah.
right? Some people find out they have cancer and they can go on and they can recover and they'll not deal with it for the rest of their lives. And some people die from it. Why? I don't know why. We're not
Mhm.
given those answers. I suppose they're um, out of our pay grade or whatever.
Right.
So,
Yeah. It's interesting.
so it
Yeah, and
starts
you know
with
what? And it's terrible. I already forgot that that was how this opened because it was just 2 little lines, and then we have this whole story about Peter's
Yeah.
rescue, so thank you for
But it's that
bringing this back.
killing of James right at the front end of the Passover that kinda sets this whole stage both
Mhm,
for Herod, the Jews,
mhm,
Peter, and then the church.
right.
And Herod, because of he killed James, was so popular with the Jews because, mind you, the Jews are still not receptive to
Mhm,
by and large. I mean, there's obviously all of the church in Jerusalem at that point was Jewish, but
right.
by and large, they were still facing a lot of headwinds from other Jews. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
Didn't believe that Jesus was the Messiah. Didn't believe any of it.
right. They didn't like him disrupting everything.
Right. And then Herod comes along and he kills one of the disciples, and all of a sudden, his popularity goes through the roof. He's like, "Wait a minute. I
Ouch.
need to kill some more disciples." This is just the
Right?
raw politics part. I
Yeah,
don't think Herod is specifically interested in stamping out the Christian religion. It's not
sure.
presented that way, as much as he is just interested in good poll numbers. I mean,
Yeah,
really,
like,
that's it.
this'll be a real crowd pleaser is what
Yeah.
he's thinking? Okay.
And it kinda shows you the difference again between the spiritual and the physical, between heaven's view and earth's view
Mhm,
of what's going on here. To Herod, these are just some pawns to get his poll numbers up.
right.
To God, this is the kingdom he's building with these people.
Right.
You know what
And
I mean?
and Peter's very important to that.
Yeah.
Mhm,
And Peter's the definitely at this point the leader, seen as one of the primary leaders of the church.
mhm,
James, not James' brother John, who was killed, because he says later on, "Go tell James that he's
mhm,
okay." It's a different James, and
mhm.
it's the James who probably wrote the book of James, who went on to kind of lead the church.
And is that James, not the one who's killed here,
Right,
but
not the one who's killed. That's a different one.
the one
He ends
later?
up
Is
coming to be
that
viewed as kind of the leader of the Jerusalem church,
Mhm.
and then Paul kind of takes over leadership of the Gentile churches, and you see Peter after this, I think, Peter starts to kind of fade out a little bit, at least of the
Oh.
book of Acts.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Real quick, though, is that James, the one who the other one who's gonna be writing the book of James,
Mhm.
is that the one who there's speculation that that's Jesus's brother?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. His book's kind of legalistic.
It is kinda legalistic. You can
Yeah.
tell that he's the leader of the Jewish church. The church in
Right,
Jerusalem, yeah.
right. Okay, gotcha.
It does come off that way depending on, I mean,
I'm
it's
just getting my
also, but yeah, that
James's straight. Okay.
so Herod wants to get his poll numbers up,
Yep.
and, so he grabs Peter because Peter's the one, remember earlier in Acts, everybody's laying there, they're sick and dying out, just hoping that Peter's
Right.
shadow will pass over them and heal them. Like,
Man.
so Peter has a lot of, he's looked at as the ringleader, as since Jesus has passed on as the
Mhm.
person kinda leading things. And so this would be a big feather in Herod's cap if he can pull it
Right.
off. You can tell how important it is to him. He's got 16 guards around this guy.
Well, yeah, I was gonna ask about that. Do you think okay, Herod obviously, well, here's what I was gonna say. He obviously feels that he needs extra guarding because either he feels like he has some supernatural power. I mean, Peter's reputation for healing,
Right.
I'm curious, did he put the guards on him because he thought maybe he'd have the power to release himself? Or because he's so has such a strong following, did he fear that people would try to come and break him out? I'm curious why he put so many guards on him.
My guess would be that I don't know. My guess would be dealing with Herod, that it was
Yeah.
probably the latter. In other
Okay.
words, I think Herod looks at everything through a material political lens.
Okay.
You
Sure.
know what I mean? And so he
Mhm.
looks at Peter as someone who, once he cuts the head off, it's like an Osama bin Laden kind of thing, I think is
Okay.
how he's viewing it.
Okay.
So if we can get the head terrorist, the head Christian
Mhm.
terrorist, this is going to be a real blow. And therefore, because Herod perceives that it's going to be such a blow to this new sect
Mhm.
of Christianity,
Yeah.
he expects that he needs to put a heavy guard around because they're going to do everything they can probably to try to break him out because he's so important to what they're trying to do.
Okay.
From Herod's perspective. Now, Herod
Yeah.
was also there was 4 different Herods.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm like, this is not the same Herod that we know,
there was
right?
no, and they were
Like,
called Herods. They were kings over this area in Judea.
okay, thank you.
So they kind of ruled Judea, but they ruled under the Roman governor, which was Pontius Pilate, under Rome.
Mhm.
But there were multiple Herods. There was Herod the Great, was the one during the Christmas story that the
Okay.
wise men come and see, and then he kills all the
Mhm.
kids under two, and
Okay.
Jesus and Joseph and Mary. An angel tells Joseph, take
Flee.
Mary and
Yeah.
Jesus to Egypt, and then he spends 2 years in Egypt, which
That was Herod the
that was
Great?
Herod the Great. Then it was
Okay.
his son, Herod Antipas,
Okay.
who had the birthday party and had imprisoned John the Baptist
Mhm.
and had John decapitated because his daughter, stepdaughter, or whatever it was, danced this amazing dance, and he told her he'd give her whatever she wanted, and
Oh, yeah,
he
that's what
wants
she
John the
asked for
Baptist's
her
head on a
birthday.
platter. So that was Herod
Yeah.
Antipas, which was still a different one. And he also played a small part in Jesus' crucifixion.
Okay.
And it talks in there about how Herod was fascinated with Jesus, but he had been fascinated with John too. So you can have
Okay.
a fascination with things spiritual and still be on the wrong team.
Sure.
And he certainly was.
Definitely. Okay.
And then Herod Agrippa came later. He enters Luke's story. He kills James and imprisons Peter, but then he dies, and there's a Herod Agrippa the second that comes in with Paul later on.
Okay.
So over like 60 years of like Jesus'
Okay.
ministry and the Acts of the Apostles, you have four different Herods.
Okay, thank you for that, because 'cause I'm like,
Uh,
"Is this the same Herod?"
no,
Gotcha.
that's kind of what happens.
Okay, got it.
So anyway, he's so important in
Yeah.
Herod's mind. Peter's this linchpin. If he can get Peter,
Mhm.
they'll scatter. Which is exactly what they
Mhm.
thought about Jesus, and that didn't happen. Well, of course, Jesus came back. They weren't expecting that. that
Right.
that was a little wrinkle.
You know what's cool about this? What's really cool about this is that okay, let's say Herod, obviously Herod wasn't in tune enough, didn't believe enough to fear God's power and intervention on Peter's behalf. Okay?
Yeah, I don't think he did.
Obviously not. I mean, if he had any inkling of that, I
He
don't
had killed John the Baptist. He had seen Jesus
yeah.
crucified. I don't think he was. I think he was probably one of the ones who bought into the idea that maybe that the Pharisees, the tales they spread, that maybe the disciples came and took Jesus' body and made up the resurrection and the whole thing.
Mhm. So, and anyway, so he's put all these guards on him,
Hmm.
fearing that maybe the people who support Peter would come and bust him out. But they weren't. At least we're not told of any of that.
No.
Instead, they are all praying for him,
Yeah.
which I think is super cool.
Yeah.
They're all home and praying for Peter. Meanwhile, God's sending an angel to free
Yeah.
him,
It's
which is
that.
cool.
I really think that a lot of this passage is the two pictures of Herod and Peter.
Mhm.
And so Herod is, of course, on the political side, he
Mhm.
is striving for power and he's looking at things through the lens of power. But
Mhm.
on the Christian side,
Mhm.
they're looking at things not through the lens of power, but through the lens of prayer, where the real power lies.
Right.
You know what I
And
mean?
Peter's sleeping soundly. He's
And
like,
Peter
"God
is not worried. He doesn't seem
God's
worried,
got
does he?
this." No, which
He's
is
got all
great
these
too.
guards around him
Mhm.
and he's just cashed out sleeping. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
And he doesn't even believe, he thinks he's dreaming. He doesn't think there's a real angel at first.
Right. I like that too because I think, when you're in that kind of in between
Yeah.
awake and asleep, you're kind of a little disoriented or you're dreaming something and you're like asking yourself, is this real?
Well,
That's kind of how I imagine
I
that.
don't think Peter was expecting an angel to come break him out either. I think John had died. He'd seen Jesus die. Jesus had kind of
Yep.
foretold that he was probably
Yeah.
he was gonna die. So
James, John's brother was killed. He's
yeah,
probably like, well, here
this
we
is my
go.
time. I'm gonna do,
I guess so.
and he's picking up his cross or whatever for Christ. But he's comfortable in it.
Mhm.
He's got that peace that passes understanding
Yes.
in this situation. And that would be the classic sermon you'd hear a lot out of this passage is Peter
Yeah.
sleeping between the guards and how he has this strange supernatural peace about the
Mhm.
whole thing.
Yeah.
and how we can have peace in our own storms. I mean, that would be then that's all true.
Mhm.
There's nothing that's
It
not
is
true
it
about
is
that.
true.
It's
It's
it
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. What I think is interesting is that I was looking at the angel getting him out,
Mhm.
and I was thinking about it as a metaphor for our own salvation.
Okay.
Meaning we're locked in the prisons of our own sin, in the prisons of ourselves.
Mhm.
And then
Of Earth.
when God rescues us,
Mhm.
the chains fall off, but we still have to obey in order to get out. We still have to take the steps like the angel says to him. The angels fall off his wrist and the angel says, "Get dressed, put on your shoes." If he doesn't do that, does he get out? I don't know. You know
Right.
what I mean? The angel isn't throwing him over his shoulder.
Right, he isn't beaming him out of there.
Yeah.
He's, like, saying, "Come on, let's
The
go."
angel's saying, "You're free, but you have to leave."
Mhm.
And I think that that's an important kind of metaphor on salvation where we can be free, but we still have to leave behind the prison of our sin and
Mhm.
of ourselves. We
Mhm.
have to follow
We
God out.
yeah. Exactly. Um we have to overcome what's guarding us and holding
Our
us
own
there.
doubts
Sure.
are part of it. I mean, Peter
Absolutely.
didn't even think this was an angel, and he's still doing what the angel said.
Right. Or maybe attachment. You and I long ago talked about our attachment to things in our lives that we know maybe aren't serving us
Yeah,
or glorifying God in our lives. It's like there's stuff like, well, I'll work on this. I'll follow you, God, but let me just keep
you hold
this
this
over
one
here.
little thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Um, so I like that. You're right. I mean, those guards are like all of those things. You have to you have to leave them behind. You
the
have to
guards
walk
are
away.
asleep, the chains are off, the
Mhm.
prison doors are open.
The invitation is
You
there.
still have to walk out. You could
Yep.
you could still live there. Peter could have stayed, I
Yeah.
guess, till they woke up.
It'd be a very different story ending
Right.
if he had stayed.
So there was still obedience required. I thought that was really interesting.
That's a great observation.
Um, and then, of course, the angel leaves him. The other thing that I think is kind of an overall kind of if you were just to look at one of the themes of this story,
Mhm.
is it seems like it's a lot and this reminded me of our conversation last week.
Yeah.
Like, it was much easier for Peter to get out of prison, get out of 16 guards, handcuffs, everything else, make
Mhm.
his way, than it was for him to get into the church. That was the hardest thing that he ran into the whole night. They wouldn't let him back in. It was like,
That's so
"Wait a
funny.
minute, I'm right here," and she's so
That's so
excited.
funny.
Then nobody believes her,
I mean, do you think that's I know, do you think that's
and
just
he's out
something
there just knocking
humorous?
like
I feel like there's not a lot of humor in the Bible, but do you feel like that's what this is? Is this just a
yeah,
little
I
bit of
think
humor?
somewhat,
Do you
but
think
I think
it's,
it's also the fact that God works and even the church has a hard time, even as strenuously as they're praying. And we have
Mhm,
to assume with this early church that they're on fire and they're in touch with God, right?
mhm.
And this prayer meeting must have been something, man. Because
Yeah, it
it's
says,
like it's reaching all the way to heaven and God's gonna respond. And
said the house was packed with praying
but
friends. Mhm.
even they aren't really they don't really expect it. I mean, why would you? Peter probably didn't either. They didn't
Right.
expect what happened.
They didn't expect him to show up at the
No.
door in the middle of the night, sure.
So God again is doing something totally unexpected,
Mhm.
and they're just caught, like, off guard, like they're
Like,
they're just
"No, he's not
on
here.
the wrong
That's
foot. They're
impossible."
they're they're on their back foot, and they're just not ready. They're not sure what to do, and they're
Yeah.
just shocked by it because they don't expect it.
Rhoda must not have a good reputation, like, a credibility because not one person is like, "Show me," you know? They're just like, "You're
They're
crazy."
probably like, "Did you see him?" And she was like, "Well, no, but I heard him." But also, when we look at Rhoda not opening the door, I think that we have to consider the overall environment in which they're in, which is that Herod has decided to start killing leaders of their church.
Sure.
And they've already had Saul. We have to assume that somebody has replaced Saul in the last 3 or 4 years and is persecuting the church.
Oh,
You know what
gotcha.
I mean?
As a persecutor, yes.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
so That's what this church is dealing with. So just because she hears Peter's voice,
Mhm.
Rhoda probably doesn't have the authority to open up that door. She probably needs to
Okay.
go get somebody maybe who's a little older, whatever.
Sure.
Somebody who's in charge to, because who knows who's out there if they just open a door,
Right.
you know, with
And it's the
everything
middle of the
going
night.
on. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the whole thing is completely unbelievable. Well, it's so unbelievable that Herod kills all the guards. I
Oh
mean,
my
he
gosh.
doesn't die. He's like, what? They don't know what happened. Nobody knows what
No,
happened.
he beheads all of them. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I almost feel bad for the guards.
Well, I think that was pretty typical, in
Yeah,
ancient
but
cultures where the people put in charge of guarding
mhm.
extremely important prisoners, if they lost the prisoner, they got the prisoner's fate, essentially.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
So, yeah, 16 guards gone.
Wow.
But yeah, I thought it was kinda comical
Mhm.
that how often do we miss, at least on the front end,
Mhm.
miss the answers to our prayers
Mhm.
because it doesn't look like we expected. God isn't doing it in the way that we expected, and when we don't expect it
Yeah.
that way, we have a tendency to miss it.
Mhm.
You can come back and get it, and that's fine. And I don't think it's that willingness to admit that you missed it that I think
Mhm.
is easy for
Right.
us in our modern day churches to not have as much, to just go on and live in our error. You know what I mean?
Yes.
What do you think? You think I'm right
No,
on
I
that,
like
or
that. I like that comparison. That this Peter showing up is literally an answer to their prayers. Um, and yeah, and they're missing it because it's not yeah, because they didn't expect it and they even if they expected some good to come out of this, they certainly didn't expect that he would be able to that he'd be freed and knocking on the door in the middle of the night. So,
right?
yeah, however God answers our prayers, I think it's a great comparison to that. That,
Yeah.
that you kind of have to I mean,
God doesn't
I
always
guess
answer in the way that we're looking for him to answer.
right, and and if it's really, really huge, this is really huge, I think sometimes we just don't believe that because we forget that God can do the impossible what seems
Yeah.
impossible to
We
us.
say it,
Yes.
and we even mean it. It's not that I don't think that we
Right,
don't mean it,
but
but
our
man,
humanness stands in the
it's hard to
way.
really
Yeah,
internalize it. You
yeah.
know what I mean? It's hard to
Mhm.
really believe it.
To process it in the moment, it's really easy to forget that we believe that.
We're like that father who had the son who was demon possessed, and Jesus comes down off the Mount of Transfiguration. The disciples been trying to cast this demon out. Nobody
Mhm,
can cast it out.
mhm.
And the father says to Jesus, uh, please, if it's possible, help my son. And Jesus says, if with God all things are possible. And he says, help my unbelief. Like he's still holding
Right.
on to it a little bit, but Jesus
Mhm.
can work through that anyway. He can
Sure.
push beyond our unbelief.
Yeah.
And he did here too.
Yes.
Peter didn't
So
necessarily believe it on the front end. Rhoda might be the only one who did believe it. She just didn't open the door.
right. It's interesting that you mentioned she might not have had the authority to do that because I hadn't really thought of that, and that makes some sense maybe.
I mean, I don't exactly know how all
It's
their homes and
possible.
things were set up, but I expect that
Yeah.
in the middle of the night, if you're persecuted Christians and they killed one of your main leaders and they're fixing to kill another one,
Yeah.
that you're a little hesitant to open the door to strange voices in the middle of the night.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe you at
I
least
mean,
want some of the guys.
right? Like,
Like that
guys,
might be
quick, come
reasonable.
open the door. So anyway, so Herod is just absolutely frustrated by the incompetence of his guards and decides to
Tired of the Jews.
take a vacation. I love that. Went for a vacation.
It's
He's
just
like,
screw 'em.
I'm going I'm I'm out. I'm out for a bit. Sabbatical.
And then what he gets, what ends up killing Herod.
Mhm.
I mean, God obviously kills Herod,
Yeah, I'm really curious about this.
but I think what's interesting is we're coming right off of the story about Peter and Cornelius.
Mhm.
Remember how when Cornelius, when Peter walks in to Cornelius's house,
Mhm.
Cornelius and the people that are with him kind of fall down and start worshiping Peter. Remember that? And
Okay.
Peter lifts him up by the hand and he says, "Don't worship me. I'm a man just like you." Right?
Mhm. Yep.
Again, contrasting Peter and Herod.
Yes.
With Herod, when all these people are like, "Oh, it's the voice of a god. It's the voice of a god."
Mhm.
What angered God was the fact that he didn't give credit to God for anything. He's so arrogant.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I thought that was an interesting parallel too. The difference between how Peter responds to them falling down and worshiping him and how Herod does and how God responds to them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
Like, God's pretty
So,
serious about this. There is no other gods before me.
what would okay, is King Herod Jewish?
I don't think so, but
Okay,
I think
I'm
he
just
ruled over Judea in
curious.
that area. I don't think he
Okay.
was Jewish, but I'm not
Just curious
positive.
what his religious beliefs would be. Does he believe in God? Is he, like, monotheistic? And does he just forget it because does he just forget that that's
I don't know.
blasphemous to let these people call
I don't
his
know.
voice the voice of God
Because I
and
think it's when they talk about the fourth Herod, I can't
Mhm.
remember if that's the one that Paul talks to. If I think that's Agrippa that he says that Paul almost convinces him to believe. But it's
Oh,
that
okay.
almost in there. He can't quite bring himself to get there
Okay.
with Paul as Paul's presenting the gospel and the story of Jesus to him.
Mhm.
So, I don't know, but then there was that fascination with John. Remember, Herod, even though he arrested John, he would go in there and he'd talk to him for hours at a time, just fascinated by John,
Mhm.
and ends up
Wonder if that
killing
was
him.
something, like, calling to him, like,
And he was
you
also
know
fascinated by Jesus, but he never got the time of day with Jesus. And once Pilate finally ships Jesus over to Herod because he thinks it's Herod's problem,
Mhm.
Jesus doesn't answer Herod at all. He never
Right.
gives him an answer. So, which isn't true of Pontius Pilate. He
Yeah.
does um answer a couple questions of Pontius Pilate's.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I thought this was and so you have these two things going on. The spiritual, the what I would say is if you were to look at the two sides and what really matters in this passage,
Mhm.
clearly it's Peter. Clearly it's the church.
Mhm.
That's what's gonna matter 2,000 years on that we're still gonna talk about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
Herod doesn't
Peter's
matter.
the victorious one here
Right.
in the church.
And Herod's got all these kind of mundane political things going on over here. He's stuck in the political. And all the while that's going on, it says,
Mhm.
meanwhile, the ministry of God's word grew by leaps and bounds.
Mhm.
Like that's the most important thing that's going on. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if God allows James to be martyred, or
Mhm.
if God supernaturally rescues Peter from prison,
Mhm.
either way, through both, the word, the ministry of God's word is growing by leaps and bounds.
Mhm.
And both will have their reward. You know what I mean? You're not gonna get to
Yeah.
heaven and James is gonna be like, I don't know, I wish I'd kind of lived. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
I
God
don't
is
know.
working his will through all of us. Not all of us are gonna live as long as others. Not all of us are gonna be able to accomplish as much as others.
Mhm.
The important thing is, what are you doing right now? The present
Right.
is where time meets eternity. What are you doing right now? When your time is up, did Jesus find you at your post? You know what I mean?
Right.
Doing what he gave you to do, I think.
I've heard that before. Is that biblical?
That,
Or is that like,
yeah, there's a C.S. Lewis thing on that I've quoted before
okay,
that
thank you.
probably is what you're
Okay.
thinking of, and it's almost the Bible. I mean,
C.S. Lewis.
it wouldn't be approved curriculum yet, but
Gotcha.
pretty good.
Right. So, okay, so can we talk about the striking down of Herod?
Yeah.
Okay. What does that actually mean? So, like, the angel is there and what is it just like he just drops dead or I
You
don't know. I
know, I
kind of
don't
feel I I for some rea I'm getting caught up in the words, but, we use our imaginations when we
yeah.
read this version. We've talked about that.
Seems like an angel killed him.
It seems like an angel killed him, but it also kinda seems like he split him open or something because he
Oh, you think
talks
so?
about him being rotten to the core, a maggoty old
Yeah,
man,
you
and
know, it does.
it's like almost like you kinda picture him being split open by
I
this
know, I don't know,
angel.
that's a good
I'm sorry if
question.
that's, like, weird and
That makes
gory to
sense,
think about,
actually.
but
There is something about it that strikes that he's
Mhm.
rotten to the core, and that somehow in God striking him down, it became obvious to everybody how rotten to the core he was.
Right.
You know what I mean? And Peter, on the other hand, again, set against that.
Mhm.
Peter's not rotten to the core. Peter's been redeemed. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's it's that arrogance, and Peter didn't seem to struggle with arrogance at all, not in Acts anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, not that we've seen. I think that his struggle with denying Christ probably stuck with him, and Christ forgiveness of that. His 3 times in a row repeating him, "Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? Feed my
Mm.
sheep," I think was for Peter, not for Jesus.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it was Peter who would go back to that and say, "Do I love him? Yeah, I love him. And what do I gotta do?
Mhm.
I just gotta feed his sheep." Like, it's real. Just go if you're struggling with something, if you're struggling with doubts, if you're struggling with mistakes you've made, if you're struggling with whatever, I think the answer that Jesus has given Peter when he says that is just get to work.
Mhm.
The feelings will come. I don't know if that's completely true, but that's kinda how I take it, you know?
Yeah.
And Peter seems
So,
to have taken the advice and done it.
um, okay, so I'm just saying, I looked this up, translations, and it sounds like he was
Those aren't approved curriculum, Gary.
sorry. It sounds like he was eaten by
Oh,
worms
really?
from yeah, from, like, the inside.
Nice. Well, that would make sense because I mean, you wouldn't an angel striking you down, like, if you think about the angel of death going through Egypt and striking down the firstborn, it wasn't like they're physically knocking them all with swords.
Right.
So it would make sense that it could have been some kind of a disease or
Mhm.
whatever that just burst open with all these worms.
Yep.
That's pretty
Eaten by
cool.
worms, infected with worms and
God's the
died.
best storyteller, man. He really is.
Right? Hey, the King James Version sorry, this is pretty cool.
Give it to us.
It
King's
says,
English.
"And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not God the glory, and he was eaten of worms and gave up the ghost."
Nice.
I love that.
Yeah, that is good.
It's, like, poetic.
If Will was listening, he'd think that the first time we read the Bible the entire time.
Will, that's just for you. But, yeah, that's,
Came to a bad end.
don't you just kinda cringe when, these people are cheering, the voice of God," and, he's just, like, enjoying it, and you're just kinda like,
Mm.
"Ooh,
Don't you wanna see him
buddy,
go, though?
it's a bad mo" Yeah, oh, totally, but at the same time, you're like, "Dude,
Oh, this isn't gonna
dude,
end well
that"
for you.
yeah, it's not gonna end well. An angel just, like, rescued your prisoner, and, yeah, this isn't
Yeah,
gonna
there's a
end
lot of like, there are 2 different well, I don't know if they were different angels, but there's 2 different situations where God's sending the angel to rescue Peter and
Mhm.
sending the angel to kill Herod.
Yeah.
It'd be kinda interesting if it was the same angel, if we got to,
Yeah, it just says sent
it's
an angel, it doesn't
no,
say
we don't know that. It'd be kinda cool
yeah,
if it was.
it would be. I was just
Just
wondering if
like
there was a
this one
clue.
angel was involved in this drama, you know? That'd be a good short
Yep.
story somebody should write.
God taps the angel on the shoulder, says, "Phase 2."
Maybe you can make a workbook out of
Find evidence to
that.
support yeah, that's funny.
So, no, I
So
thought this was great, and, of course, the traditional prayer, God responds to prayer, all of
mhm,
that is all, of course, 100% true, and one of the main things of the story is that
yeah.
prayer is where the power is, not in political might, which may or may not be a message that some so-called Christian nationalists need to hear. I don't know, because I still don't know exactly what they think. But
Well, it's a good reminder of the power of prayer because, I believe there's so much power in prayer, but there are times where it feels desperate and you're praying and there's that underlying feeling of,
sorry, oh,
I don't know if this is gonna make any
yeah,
difference. We do it, but I really I love it when I meet people who pray so confidently and boldly and or they're like praying thanks before things have happened,
yeah.
you know?
Do you wonder though if part of it isn't part of what's impressive maybe isn't even the people who are so full of faith, but the people who aren't and pray anyway. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Sure.
Like, there's something to me in that says,
Okay.
I don't have it right now, but I'm gonna pray for it. It's almost like what you're saying where they're thanking for things that hasn't happened
Mhm.
because they're praying, and they have a hard time believing at this late stage that
Right.
God's gonna come through, but they pray anyway. I
Right.
think
It's
maybe even
it's
just that little bit of faith God can honor, it's just that mustard seed.
it's so humble too. It's kinda like, I just yeah.
Yeah. Everything's
Like,
falling
almost in
apart.
the like, almost like the more desperate the prayer, the better, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And God's like,
Interesting. Yeah.
"I don't need a lot. Just give me a little faith. I
A
can do a
little.
lot with a little."
Just oh, okay. Compared to some people, I feel sometimes like I only have a little, but yeah, depends on the day.
That's enough with him, right?
We do our best.
Alright, well, I think
Yeah.
we did pretty good. We got through a whole chapter. We are burning through Acts.
Are.
It's amazing. Are we getting that much better at it, I wonder?
I
I don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. Maybe we were afraid we were gonna run out of Bible when we were doing Mark, or maybe I mean, we weren't diagramming the sentences or
Yeah.
anything. I should go back and listen and figure out what was holding us up. I don't know. I think you just wanted to make sure we were
Well, there's a
covered.
lot going on, to be fair, in the Gospels, so
It's
this
true.
is and I mean, like, this entire chapter
Mhm.
is basically one story.
It is. Yeah, it's
I mean,
perfect.
essentially, so, yeah.
It's
Well,
cool.
I think we did great. Guys, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank
Catch
you.
beers if you or catch news if you haven't. That
Yesterday.
yeah, that should be on yesterday. We're gonna be
Mhm.
off next week. Carrie is gonna be gone, and we're gonna be off. We'll be back the week following.
Yep.
So, yeah,
And you might
maybe, who knows?
maybe okay.
Keep a
Might
sharp
just
eye on things. If
take a
something were to pop
week off.
up, I don't know if it will.
Cool.
You never know. Alright. I think we're good. Anything else, Carrie?
I
Anything I
don't think
missed?
so. Thank you so much.
There was no Pope slurs in this episode.
I know.
Sorry,
Isn't that
Nancy.
nice?
We'll keep the, heightest remarks about the Pope
There you go.
off.
I appreciate that too.
What if he was really tall, though? Well, Francis was kinda tall, wasn't he?
I think so. He
He
seemed like
was.
it.
I don't know
Yeah.
about Benedict. Is Benedict still around? He'd finally die.
Oh gosh. Why do
I feel like he died, but I'm
I
not
feel like
positive.
he
Maybe he
maybe
didn't. Maybe he's still
did.
because I know he retired.
You know what? I feel like he was ill, but then I don't remember
Maybe
anything
he's just
coming of it. I
golfing
feel
with
bad that
Trump.
I don't know.
Who knows? He's like, Trump has his own, like, beast golf cart. Maybe the Pope
Yeah.
has his own, like, Pope golf cart.
Maybe Pope Benedict's like, "Man, just retire. It's the greatest."
It's so great. Just hand it off to somebody else,
Oh,
they'll deal with it.
it's funny.
Alright. Well, we are outta here, Carrie. Have a
Have a
good time
Thank you.
on,
You have
for
a
the
great
next week
week
or
off.
2, and then, we'll be back.
Sounds good.
Alright, thanks for joining us, guys. We will catch you in 2 weeks.
See you then.
Alright, see ya.